Kia ora everyone, welcome to Trinidad. We're here at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy for the Black Caps last showing in Pool C here of this ICC Men's T20 Cricket World Cup. I'm joined by Simon Dool and a man who looks like he owns an NFL team, Danny Morrison. And look, Dooley, it's been a tough old World Cup campaign for this New Zealand side. I mean, I'm not sure what the odds were that we'd be going further in the tournament than them, but they weren't. I mean, have you been surprised, is perhaps the first question I should ask you, with New Zealand showing at this World Cup?
Surprised, no, because of the preparation, the lack of games, the lack of game time, I think, for a lot of the players leading into the tournament. It was a real concern. No warm-up games. Now, I know they chose not to for various reasons. So it didn't surprise me. Afghanistan are a very good side. I thought that would be New Zealand's toughest game of the pool. It's proved to be, and then they get beaten up by the West Indies as well. So surprise would not be the word I would use. Disappointed, yes.
Danny, from your perspective, a former player as well, what do you think when you see this team? I mean, we're renowned for making it through at least to the next round, if not a semi-final. So this feels it feels even quite flat here, I think.
Yeah, it is, because the first time since 2014, so we've had a decade of really good stuff on white ball cricket. Look, let's just be honest about this. The landscape's changed. New Zealand cricket trying to compete with the IPL, and the players that have to go and earn, understandably. But this is playing for your country. I know you want to get back to your families and everything. I appreciate all that. But this is playing for New Zealand, and the Aussies came here and played 2 warm-up games. We chose not to, the Black Caps. And as Dooley said, it just shows how rusty, so off the mark, hugely. And so when you come together as a group, I don't care if most of those players are playing in the IPL and have been busy playing franchise cricket and then back in New Zealand. You have to front up here, and that's what it's about. It's a World Cup. It's not another franchise tournament, and it's not just a bilateral. And not just saying just a bilateral. Playing for New Zealand is paramount. It really is.
And that's what New Zealand cricket has to now go and figure out going forward. Have they got the right personnel there to do that, Dooley? Do you think, what is the best step forward that New Zealand can take from here?
Well, from here, I think there's going to be some massive change. There has to be some drastic changes. And you're looking at a team that is predominantly made up of guys 32, 33 and above. So there will be some changes. Change of coach, first and foremost. I think the time has come for Gary Stead. I think he's done a terrific job over a long period of time, but I think he's lost his way a little bit, and the team have lost their way, and there's a little bit too much loyalty shown to the wrong people in some ways, and so that, I think that's going to have to change. A new captain moving forward. I don't see Kane playing much white ball cricket for New Zealand after this. It wouldn't surprise me if he retires from white ball cricket in particular and starts to play a few of the leagues around the world. He'd be well sought after in some of the lesser leagues, perhaps not so much in the IPL from here moving forward, but you know, a lot of the lesser leagues would love to have a player the stature of Kane Williamson. We might still see him in Test match cricket. You know, Tim's next World Cup is 2026. That's the T21, and then 2027 for a 50-over World Cup. They have to rebuild, and they have to start now, straight after this tournament. I don't think there's any point in keeping hold of some of the slightly older guys who you don't see making that 26, 27 roster. And as I say, get in a new coach, get some fresh ideas, some fresh blood, and maybe someone with a little bit of a different point of view.
I think you're right. A different point of view is key, but also it's how you manage people over this next period of time, Danny, that's crucial, isn't it? Those who are leaving, new ones coming in, how you incorporate the two to help those young ones going forward to that next World Cup, right?
And do you have a big clean out, as Dooley's saying, with the coaching staff, and then you look at the manager, and that's key. Clearly that's key, but always, I think cricket lovers who are savvy enough realise that the coach and the captain's relationship is huge. It's massive, and so that will be intriguing, as Dooley says, moving forward. Who wants to take up the white ball captaincy? Is it someone like a Mitch Santner going forward? Who will be the coach, and who will be that sort of management core group for these younger guys coming in? So I'll be fascinated to see that.
I don't mind 2 coaches either. I've got no problem with a split coaching role. I think the time has come for that. Fresh ideas, white ball coach and a red ball coach as well. So I've got no problem with 2 different coaches either.
And I suppose, to Danny's point as well, it's imperative that the people that you choose to represent your country, that is their absolute priority.
Yeah, and that's the key for me. Coming into this tournament, I pick up on Danny's point. You know, look, family's important. I get it. I understand that. But this is a World Cup. For those that thought they could fly home after the IPL just to see their family for a few, all of these IPL franchises, they would pay for your families to come over and see you. This is a World Cup. You don't have to go home after an IPL. You've just got to come straight here and get your backsides ready to win a World Cup. So to say, oh, it's important that I go home and see my family, well, no, it's not. I'm sorry. Family time you can prioritise. New Zealand cricket have been so good to all of New Zealand's players over the years, letting them play these franchise tournaments. I mean, the women are allowed to go and play in the Big Bash when the domestic tournament is on in New Zealand. They have been very accommodating to all of New Zealand's players by allowing them to do this. At least you could do is a little bit of payback and saying, no, you know what, it's a 3.5 week tournament. For them, it's now only a 2 week tournament. And you can go home and see your families and spend some time with them after that. You've chosen to put yourself in the auction. You've chosen to play that tournament. New Zealand Cricket have allowed you to do that. And yet you still choose to go home and not prepare yourself properly for a World Cup. That doesn't wash well with me.
And you knew this World Cup was coming. That's the thing I think a lot of Kiwi fans will probably be feeling the most disappointed with. You knew this World Cup was coming, and any cricket fan knew that that first game against Afghanistan was totally crucial.
Yeah, scary because New Zealand, the BLACKCAPS were last out of the blocks. It was their first game. The others had played. In fact, some of them had qualified before New Zealand played Afghanistan in that key moment and that key match. So yeah, there is all of what we've just said is so powerful, and I think hopefully in terms of New Zealand cricket, when they sit down, they'll start to work through this and talk to where the players are at moving forward about what is a priority for you guys.
And allow Scott Winnick to bed in a little bit as well. I mean, you know, obviously new CEO in the last 6 months, 8 months. I think he's going to be very, very good moving forward. Obviously played a lot of cricket as well, much like David White had. He knows the game, he understands, very smart man. So allow Scott Winnick a bit of time to bed in and just get things going in the right direction as well.
Yeah, it certainly does sound like he is the man for the job. In terms of today's matchup, well, it's an interesting one. How do the BLACKCAPS get up? They got up against Uganda in that last matchup. How do they go today?
Yeah, look, they just have to finish on a high note. It's a side that they should be beating. They should be beating very, very comfortably. I think they will win very, very comfortably. But, you know, finishing on a high note, beating Uganda and Papua New Guinea is not the end to the tournament that New Zealand would have predicted or hoped for, but they just have to get it done.
They absolutely do. Danny Morris and Simon Doull, thank you so much for your time. Hope you guys are keeping warm and dry back home.